Hi, I'm Mint. Welcome in, both of you. So, I'm here today to help aid in communication between the two of you. I am an intimacy counselor. So, in everyday speak, like a sex therapist. What I like to do is to look into both your physical overall health as well as your mental health to see if we can find any improvements there that will then help boost the intimacy between the two of you. Now, there is a big link, and I'm sure that you are both aware of how you are feeling, whether it be whether you're sick or just how you're doing mentally today, what your self-esteem is like that day, whether or not you're feeling like being intimate with your partner. There are many different factors that can lead into that. So, before we get into having you both tell me a little bit about why you think you're here today, I just want to start off by saying that I know speaking about sex isn't usually an acceptable or normalized form of communication. It can be seen as very taboo, not something you would speak about over dinner usually, correct? So I fully understand if you have a little bit of apprehension when speaking, but hopefully by the end of this session, but not only the end of this session, but as we do further sessions, you become much more free and comfortable in speaking about your wants and needs. Okay. And they don't even need to necessarily be, sexual in nature either. There can be, like I said, many other factors leading in that we'll kind of get into and break down onto why maybe we're having this disconnect here in the intimacy between the two of you. So, like I said, I am sure that you both have an idea of why we are here today. So I want to just take a moment to hear from both of you about why you think we're here and some things you would like to see improve between you and your partner. I'm going to start with your partner first. And again, this is a safe space. Please feel free to speak freely, but also just keep in mind that we don't want to say any statements that are disparaging to our partners. So let's keep it to how you are feeling in your relationship currently. And I'm just going to be jotting down some notes as you speak, okay? So the floor is yours whenever you're ready. Good to know. Thank you for sharing. And now, if you're ready, please let us again know why you think we are here in counseling today and some areas you would like to see some improvement in. Alright, so from my notes that I've kind of gathered here just quickly, it looks like we're having a little bit of a disconnect with libidos. Does that sound okay? So, first of all, that is not uncommon between partners at all. How long have you both been together? Okay. So quite some time, a few years. Marvelous. Well, congrats. Okay. Now, as we age, and as with our overall health as well, and like I said, mental health, self-esteem, things like that, our libido naturally can fluctuate from being times of being high and low, and what's high for somebody might not be a high libido for another person. It varies person to person, okay, and couple to couple. And like I said, it is not uncommon for there to be one partner who wants more sexual activity than the other. That's totally normal. Let's see, I know that your doctors sent over your medical records, but I didn't have a chance to dive into them deeply before our appointment today. Have you all started any medication, perhaps, that may have an effect on your libido? Okay. And when did you start taking this? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, to deal with differences in libidos, it sounds like you both aren't too incredibly far off, so it's not the sexiest option, I would say, but it might be good for you two to decide on a number, maybe, let's say, once a week or 2 times a month, something like that, whatever you both are comfortable with, and make that a goal. Now, when I say goal, I don't mean like a rule. It's not something that you should be putting too much weight on or then turn into a chore to having a sexual interaction with your partner, because of course some days you're just not feeling it, and that's completely normal as well. So just a goal that we try to hit, just so that we can try to meet in the middle then, so that the partner who is feeling more into having more sexual encounters is getting their needs met a little bit more, and you who is feeling that they don't need as much isn't feeling overwhelmed by the amount as well. Okay, good. So again, that's not a number that we have to pick right now, and it's not a hard rule that this must happen this many times a week, a month, etc. Whatever number works best for you. It's definitely something to discuss. Now, another thing that I was getting from you both speaking is I was saying that there wasn't a lot of interaction between the two of you. Now, I understand I was asking you the question, so it makes sense that you would be speaking directly to me, but I want to see more communication between the two of you while you were watching your partner, and the same for you as well. While you were watching your partner, there wasn't much eye contact. You pulled out your phone, so let's try to work on getting that connection back. I think it's important that we are making sure that each one of us is being heard. Okay? So that's something I would like for both of you to work on, is if we can really make an effort to, when we are speaking to each other, to put down our devices, turn down the TV, pause our video game, etc., whatever it may be, and listen, actively listen. Make sure that we are hearing each other, just so that we are each putting in the respect that each one of us deserves. Does that sound good? I think yes. It, especially when couples who've been together for quite some time, a few years, like you two have been, it can get easy to kind of lose the passion or the spark, and it can be a good thing because pause. What I'm saying is, it can be a good thing because you have known each other for so long that you think you can read the other one's mind, essentially, and so that you don't have to fully listen to what they're saying, because you can kind of guess and interpret by years of experience with your partner. And we tend to forget that, it can be seen as a slight by not actively listening, by just thinking you know what they're going to say. You wouldn't necessarily do that to someone you've just met, correct? Okay. Good, good. So yeah, so we'll just try to make an active effort to make sure that we are actively listening to each other as well. And then next, another thing that I was hearing from both of you is that we're having a bit of a disconnect in each other's love language. It sounds like you really enjoy when you're getting words of affirmation from your partner, and it seems like you're also someone who is very into giving and receiving gifts. Is that correct? Okay, perfect. I think also, just on this note, as we're speaking about love languages, I will give you the website to a good quiz, just so you can kind of see and get more in tune with what your love language is. Okay, but it seems like you're not really getting that in the relationship currently. Is that correct? You feel that that part is being neglected for you. Okay, good. And then as for your partner, it looks like you're into physical touch. Okay. Physical touch would be one of your biggest things. That's fine. And then acts of service. Okay, so I'm just going to jot that down as what we think our love languages are. So, I think misconceptions when we hear gift giving, are these big, elaborate, expensive gifts. But, and please, don't allow me to speak for you if I am, but maybe you're looking for something more heartfelt. It doesn't necessarily need to be some big, expensive, let's say, electronic or something of the sort. Maybe just a handwritten card. Maybe, yeah, so heartfelt gifts might be something that you could do. Even a note in, say, your lunchbox for work. Perfect, and that would also help with the words of affirmation. Okay. And then for your partner. Gotcha. So it feels like it's been a while since you two have been very romantic or interacted in a way with physical touch like that. So you're craving some like hugs or kisses, things of that sort. Gotcha. So again, for you to keep in mind, maybe some romantic interactions would help aid between the two of you. Yes, I do recommend that it is important for our couples to kiss. I would say daily, and I believe I would have to look into the study, but I want to say it's for longer than 4 seconds. That's what it takes to have your body start to release any endorphins or any of those happy feelings. So try to, interact more romantically with your partner. Kiss for a little longer. It doesn't have to be something, you're counting in your head, but just to build up that romance again. Perfect. Okay. Longer kisses. To keep that in mind. Beautiful. Now, something I believe I spoke on a little bit earlier is for couples that have been together for a longer period of time, we forget to be dating our partner. So I think that might be something that you two might want to look into. When is the last time that you both had a proper date? Okay. Gotcha. So it has been a while. I think it might be good for you two to go out and either do something you both love, maybe take an interest in your partner's hobby that maybe, say, isn't necessarily for you, but you would love to learn a little bit more about. Say, they like to hike. Maybe you're not a big hiker, so you do a very short, very novice hike together, have a little picnic at the end. Or if you're more adventurous, maybe looking to do something that pushes you both a little bit out of your comfort zone, say something like karaoke. I wouldn't recommend doing anything that is, say, one of your all's maybe phobias. Maybe you're afraid of heights. I wouldn't recommend that you both go skydiving, perhaps. There can be bonds that form through trauma, or being out of your comfort zone, essentially, but I would not recommend doing anything that is a big fear. That usually isn't going to end well. So I would recommend maybe, if, sometimes karaoke makes people a little, it's a little scary, get up in front of people and sing. But it's also a lot of fun, very low stakes activity that you both could participate in. Something like that. So just finding little things. Again, dating doesn't have to be big, extravagant dates, like you see on the internet, like those big proposals or something where people balloon arches, etc., etc. Maybe you both like to go bowling. Maybe you just take a moment to go bowling together. You don't need to invite anyone else, just the two of you. Just spend some quality time where you are putting down your phones and interacting together. So I believe that intimacy starts well ahead of the bedroom. If you're not getting these very basic needs for yourself met before then you're not going to have a good time when you get in there, or you're not even going to want to, right? So it sounds like there's just been a little bit of a breakdown between the communication between you two. We've gotten a little complacent in our relationship, and that is a completely normal thing that happens to many couples. We just get a little too comfortable, I think. And it's important to just reignite that spark. Again, to be able to look at your partner and think, wow, I am so lucky to have them. So, I would love for you all to take the love language quiz, just see up a little bit more about your love language. It'll give you good descriptions and examples that then you can give to your partner so that you both can read and discuss and get ideas of how that would see work in interactions between the two of you. Okay? Perfect. So we'll do that. So for homework, we're gonna have the love language quiz. I think I want you to decide eventually. It's just something to think about. It doesn't need to be decided on by the next session at all, but a amount of intimacy that would appease both of you, that you both are comfortable with. Okay? And then I would really like for you both to work on putting down your phone and actively listening to your partner. So actively listen. And then one last thing, I would love by the next time that we have a session that you two have gone on a date. Again, nothing crazy. Could be trying a new restaurant, again, going for a hike, doing the physical activity you both enjoy, or a hobby. Maybe, one of you likes to build puzzles or Legos, something of that sort. Just go on a date. Marvelous. Wow, I think this is a good first session, a good starting place. As we get more into our conversations, I'm sure we'll all feel a little more open with each other, and you'll be able to more freely speak about your feelings. And that's the main goal here, is to be able to speak about what you want and what you don't want. You may find you both have an interest that you didn't know you had before. Okay? Well, marvelous. Thank you again so much for stopping by. I'm very excited to hear back from you. We have our next appointment. Let's see. I have you down for in 2 weeks. And it looks like same day and time. Is that marvelous? Okay. Well then, I will see you back here. Please look into doing that homework. I will make sure these notes are emailed to both of you respectively so you can go over them and just keep them for your own records. Okay. Bye-bye now.